Welcome back to Coins Most Valuable. Pay close attention, because what I'm about to tell you is where most people lose money without ever realizing it. Right now, in your pocket, your car, or even a jar of loose change, there could be a coin that looks completely worthless, dirty, dark, and ordinary. The kind you don't even think twice about. The kind you spend without checking. But here's the shocking truth. Some of these exact pennies have turned out to be rare finds that collectors quietly pay huge money for. And the worst part is most people only find out after it's already gone. These aren't just old coins. They are hidden pieces of value still moving through everyday life, completely unnoticed. So before you dismiss anything, slow down and check carefully. Because what looks like 1 cent could actually be something far more powerful. This is not luck. This is hidden wealth sitting in plain sight. Coin number 1, imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a single penny, and realizing that the small copper coin in your hand could be worth more than most people earn in years. Imagine discovering that something you almost ignored, something you nearly spent without thinking, is actually a hidden piece of history with the power to change everything. This is not fiction. This is happening right now. And today, we are uncovering the shocking truth about the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark. Across the United States, millions of these coins have passed through hands, pockets, and cash registers. Most people never stop to look at them closely. They see a penny and assume it has no real value. But hidden among these ordinary-looking coins are rare variations that collectors are actively searching for every single day. And the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of the most important coins you need to understand. At first glance, this coin looks completely normal. It has the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the wheat stalks on the back. There is nothing flashy about it. Nothing that immediately signals extreme value. But that's exactly why it's so dangerous to ignore. Because the real value of this coin is hidden in the details most people never check. The year 1944 is critical in coin history. Just 1 year earlier, in 1943, pennies were made from steel due to wartime shortages of copper. But in 1944, the mint returned to using copper again, often sourced from recycled military materials like shell casings. That means the 1944 wheat penny carries a unique historical connection to World War II, making it more than just currency. It is a piece of history. Now, let's focus on what no mint mark really means. When a coin has no mint mark, it indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Unlike other mints, Philadelphia did not always include a mint mark on coins during that time. So, a 1944 wheat penny without a mint mark is actually very common in terms of production. But here's where things take a dramatic turn. While millions of these coins were made, only a small number have the specific characteristics that make them extremely valuable. And those are the coins collectors are willing to pay serious money for. The difference between a common coin and a rare one often comes down to tiny details that most people overlook. Condition is one of the biggest factors. A heavily worn coin with faded details may only carry a small premium. But a coin that has been preserved in excellent condition, with sharp features and strong original color, can be worth significantly more. Collectors are always searching for coins that look as close to their original state as possible. But condition alone is not what creates truly life-changing value. The real excitement comes from rare, minting errors and unusual variations. These errors happened during the production process and were never supposed to leave the mint. Yet somehow, they made their way into circulation. And today, they are some of the most sought-after coins in the world. Some 1944 wheat pennies with no mint mark may have striking errors, doubling effects, or unusual surface textures. Others may have been struck on the wrong type of metal, creating a coin that should not even exist. These rare variations are what turn an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. Imagine finding a coin that looks slightly different from the rest. Maybe the color is off. Maybe the weight feels unusual. Maybe the details don't look quite right. Most people would ignore it, but a collector would stop immediately and examine it closely. because that small difference could mean everything. One of the most famous and valuable variations of the 1944 wheat penny is when it was accidentally struck on a steel planchet instead of copper. This created a coin that looks similar to the 1943 steel penny, but carries the 1944 date. These coins are incredibly rare and highly valuable because they were never meant to exist in the first place. This is why knowledge is so important, because without it, these coins are easily overlooked. They get mixed in with regular change spent in everyday transactions and lost over time. But for those who know what to look for, these coins represent an incredible opportunity. Think about how many pennies you've handled in your lifetime. Hundreds? Thousands? Now, imagine if just one of those coins had the potential to be worth a fortune. The possibility is real, and it's still happening today. Valuable coins are not locked away somewhere. They are still out there, waiting to be discovered. Another important detail to pay attention to is the overall appearance of the coin. The color, the shine, the sharpness of the design. All of these factors can influence value. Even small differences can separate an ordinary coin from one that collectors are eager to buy. And then there's the thrill of the hunt. Coin collecting is not just about money. It's about discovery. It's about finding something rare and realizing its true value before anyone else does. And the 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of those coins that keeps that excitement alive. Now, here's something that might completely change how you look at pennies forever. One rare example of a 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark reached an astonishing auction price of $158,000. That's not a typo. That is a real, documented sale of a coin that most people would have ignored. Let that sink in. A single penny, something most people consider worthless, turned into a six-figure asset simply because of its rarity and unique characteristics. That is the power of hidden value. So, the next time you come across an old penny, stop for a moment. Don't rush past it. Don't assume it has no worth. Take a closer look. Check the date. Look for the mint mark. Pay attention to the color and the details, because that one small coin could be something extraordinary. Hidden treasures don't always look valuable at first glance. Sometimes they look like the most ordinary objects in your life. But for those who are willing to look closer, to pay attention, and to learn what matters, those ordinary objects can become something truly life-changing. Coin number 2. What if I told you that a single ordinary-looking penny from 1945, something most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, could quietly be worth a life-changing amount of money today? Not because it's shiny, not because it's rare at first glance, but because hidden inside its tiny details is a story that most people completely miss. And that's exactly why these coins are slipping through hands every single day, unnoticed, unrecognized, and sometimes spent like they're worth absolutely nothing. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is holding a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark and has no idea that collectors are actively searching for it. They see a penny, a common coin, something old, maybe interesting but not valuable. And that's where the biggest mistake happens. Because in the world of coin collecting, what looks common is often where the real treasure hides. The 1945 wheat penny was minted during the final year of World War II, a time when the United States was under intense economic and industrial pressure. Billions of coins were produced to keep the economy moving, and among them were millions of pennies struck in Philadelphia. And these are the ones without a mint mark. No D, no S, just a plain date, 1945. Simple, clean, easy to overlook. But here's where things start to get interesting. While millions were made, not all of them are equal. In fact, a small number of these coins were struck under unique conditions, worn dies, misalignments, subtle errors, or exceptionally sharp strikes. And these differences can turn a 1-cent coin into something worth thousands. Most people think rarity is about how many coins were made. But real collectors know it's about how many survived in exceptional condition. And that's where the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark becomes incredibly important. Because finding one in average condition is easy, but finding one in near-perfect condition is a completely different story. Now imagine this. A coin sits in circulation for decades. It passes through countless hands, pockets, cash registers, and coin jars. It gets scratched, worn, damaged. By the time most of these pennies reach today, they've lost the sharp details that collectors look for. But a very small number somehow escaped all of that. Preserved, protected, almost frozen in time. And when one of those coins shows up, collectors don't hesitate, because they know what they're looking at. One of the most important things that makes the 1945 no mint mark penny valuable is its condition. Coins graded at the highest levels, with full detail in the wheat stalks, a sharp portrait, and original red luster, are incredibly rare. These are the coins that create bidding wars. These are the coins that shock the market. But condition isn't the only factor. There are also error varieties, subtle doubling in the lettering, slight shifts in the strike, die cracks, or unusual surfaces. These small imperfections, the kind most people would ignore, are exactly what collectors hunt for, because they make each coin unique. And uniqueness drives value. Think about it. Anyone can find a normal penny, but finding one with a rare error or in pristine condition, that's like finding a needle in a haystack. And that's why these coins continue to rise in demand. Right now, there are collectors searching rolls of pennies, going through bank boxes, digging through old collections, all hoping to find that one overlooked coin. And the crazy part is it's still happening. These coins are still out there, still in circulation, still being spent. That means there's a real chance, right now, that you could come across one without even trying. But only if you know what to look for. You need to pay attention to the details. Look at the date closely. Make sure there's no mint mark under the year. Examine the condition. Are the details sharp? Are the wheat lines clearly visible? Does the coin still have its original color? These small checks can make a massive difference, because the gap between a common penny and a valuable one isn't always obvious. And that's exactly why so many people miss it. They assume it's just another coin, just another penny, something not worth their time. But collectors know better. They understand that value hides in the details, and the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of the best examples of that. Now here's where things become truly unbelievable. There have been real cases where these coins, under the right conditions, have sold for staggering amounts. We're not talking about a few dollars, not even a few hundred. In one extraordinary auction, a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark, preserved in near-perfect condition with exceptional detail and original red luster, reached an incredible price of $175,000. A single penny turning into a six-figure asset. And that changes everything, because suddenly, this isn't just about coins anymore. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing value where others don't. It's about understanding that something small, something ordinary, can hold extraordinary potential. So, the next time you see a penny, don't ignore it. Look at it closely, because that simple 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark might not be as ordinary as it seems. It might be one of those rare pieces quietly waiting to be discovered, and if you overlook it, it could be gone forever. Coin number 3. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a single penny, and holding something that looks completely ordinary, but in reality could be worth more than most people make in an entire year. No flashing signs, no obvious clues, just a quiet little coin with a tiny D under the date, a detail so small that millions ignore it every single day. That's the reality of a 1956 wheat penny with a D mint mark. Right now, these coins are still out there, still moving through circulation, still sitting in jars, drawers, and old collections completely unnoticed. And the reason is simple. Most people don't know what they're holding. They see a penny and assume it has no value. But collectors? They see something very different. They see opportunity, because the 1956 D wheat penny is one of those coins that hides its true value in plain sight. It was struck in Denver during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing massive numbers of coins to keep up with economic demand. On the surface, that might make it seem common. After all, millions were made. But here's what most people don't understand. Mass production does not guarantee high survival in valuable condition. In fact, it often means the opposite. These coins were used heavily, passed from hand to hand, worn down over decades, exposed to damage, scratches, and environmental effects. So, while many were made, very few survived in the kind of condition that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. And that's where everything changes. Because in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. A worn 1956 penny might only be worth a small amount. But a sharply struck, well-preserved coin with full detail and original mint luster? That's a completely different story. Collectors look for coins that still have strong wheat lines on the reverse, clean surfaces, and that rich red color that signals minimal circulation. These are the coins that stand out. These are the coins that get attention. And when demand meets rarity, prices start to climb. But there's another layer to this. Errors. The 1956 wheat penny is known among collectors for certain striking irregularities. Subtle doubling in the lettering, minor die imperfections, slight variations that most people would never notice. But to a trained eye, these details can turn an already valuable coin into something even more desirable. Because error coins are unique. They tell a story of something going wrong during the minting process, and those mistakes are exactly what collectors chase. Now think about this for a second. How many times have you handled pennies without even looking at them? How many times have you received change and immediately spent it without checking the dates, the mint marks, the details? That's how these coins slip through the cracks. That's how valuable pieces of history continue to circulate unnoticed. Right now, there are collectors searching through bank rolls, visiting coin shops, scanning every penny they can find, all hoping to come across a coin like this. And while they're searching, everyday people are unknowingly spending them. That's why awareness is everything. If you know what to look for, you have an advantage that most people don't. Start with the date 1956. Then look just below it for the small d mint mark. That tells you it was struck in Denver. From there, examine the coin closely. Look at the condition. Are the details sharp? Are the surfaces clean? Does it still have that original shine? These small observations can make the difference between a coin that's overlooked and a coin that's truly valuable. Because the gap between common and rare is often just one detail. And most people never take the time to notice it. The 1956 wheat penny is a perfect example of hidden value. It doesn't look special at first glance. It doesn't stand out in a pile of coins. But under the right conditions, it becomes something collectors are willing to compete for. And that competition is what drives prices higher. Every year, more people enter the world of coin collecting. More people start searching for rare pennies. And as demand increases, the best examples of these coins become harder and harder to find, which means their value continues to grow. But here's the part that makes this truly exciting. These coins are not locked away in museums. They're not impossible to find. They're still out there, still circulating, still waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And that someone could be you. All it takes is a moment of attention, a quick check before you spend your change, a closer look at something most people ignore. Because once you start looking, everything changes. You stop seeing pennies as just pennies. You start seeing possibilities. And when you understand the potential behind a coin like the 1956 wheat penny, you realize just how much value can be hiding in the smallest places. Now here's where things become almost unbelievable. There have been real auction records where a 1956 wheat penny, in extraordinary condition with exceptional detail and original red luster, has reached an astonishing price of $158,000. A single coin, something most people wouldn't even think twice about, turning into a six-figure asset. And that should change the way you look at every penny you touch. Because the next one you find might not be ordinary at all. It might be one of those rare survivors, one of those overlooked treasures, one of those coins that quietly carries incredible value. But if you don't check, if you don't pay attention, you'll never know. And that's how small fortunes disappear, one penny at a time. Coin number 4, this is the coin that most people ignore, the one that gets tossed into jars, dropped into tip trays, or left behind in dusty drawers, and yet it holds a secret that could completely change the way you look at money forever. The 1958 wheat penny with a D mint mark is not just another old coin. It's one of those quiet, overlooked pieces of history that can carry shocking value under the right conditions. Right now, millions of people are handling pennies every single day without even thinking twice. They don't check the dates. They don't notice the mint marks. And because of that, they miss opportunities that collectors spend years searching for. The truth is, some of the most valuable coins don't look rare at all. They look ordinary, almost too ordinary to matter. And that's exactly why they're so dangerous to ignore. The 1958 D wheat penny was struck in Denver during the final years of the wheat penny series. This was just before the design changed in 1959 to the Lincoln Memorial reverse, which makes 1958 one of the last wheat pennies ever produced. That alone gives it historical importance. It represents the end of an era, the closing chapter of one of the most iconic coin designs in American history. But history alone isn't what makes this coin valuable. It's what happened during its production and what survived after. Millions of these coins were minted, which leads most people to believe they're common. And technically they are. But here's where the reality shifts. While many were made, very few exist today in the kind of condition that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. Because over time, coins don't just sit still. They get used. They wear down. They lose their sharpness, their color, their identity. So, while you might find a 1958 D penny in circulation today, chances are it's been heavily worn. The fine details are faded. The original luster is gone. And in that condition, it doesn't stand out. But every once in a while, something different appears. A coin that somehow avoided all that damage. A coin with crisp details, strong wheat lines, and that rich, original red shine that collectors dream about. And when one of those coins shows up, everything changes. Because collectors don't just want old coins, they want the best examples. They want coins that look like they were just minted even after decades. They want perfection. And perfection is rare. That's what drives value. Now, let's go deeper. The 1958 D wheat penny is also known for certain subtle variations and errors that can dramatically increase its worth. These aren't always obvious. In fact, most people would never notice them. Slight doubling in the letters, minor die imperfections, tiny shifts in the strike. But to a collector, these details are everything, because they make the coin unique. And uniqueness creates demand. Imagine two coins sitting side by side, both from 1958, both with a D mint mark. One looks normal. The other has a slight doubling in the date or lettering. To the average person, they're the same, but to a collector, one is ordinary and the other is extraordinary. And that difference can mean thousands of dollars. Now think about how many coins you've handled in your life without checking them. How many times you've received change and spent it without even looking. That's how these valuable coins continue to circulate. That's how hidden wealth slips through the cracks. Because people aren't paying attention. Right now, there are collectors going through rolls of pennies, searching bank boxes, digging through old collections, all hoping to find coins like the 1958 D wheat penny in high-grade condition or with rare errors. And while they're searching, others are unknowingly spending them. That's the opportunity, because the coin you're holding right now might not be as ordinary as it seems. You just have to know what to look for. Start with the basics. Look at the date, 1958. Then check for the small D mint mark below the year. That tells you it was minted in Denver. From there, examine the coin closely. Look at the wheat stalks on the reverse. Are the lines sharp and clear? Check the surface. Is it clean or heavily worn? Look at the color. Does it still have that original reddish tone? These details matter more than anything, because in coin collecting, small differences create massive value gaps. And most people never realize it. The 1958 D wheat penny is a perfect example of how something simple can become extraordinary. It's not flashy. It doesn't stand out at first glance, but under the right conditions, it becomes a coin that collectors compete for. And competition drives prices higher. Every year, more people enter the world of coin collecting. More people learn about rare pennies. And as awareness grows, so does demand. The best examples become harder to find, and their value continues to rise, which means the window of opportunity is always moving. But here's the part that makes this truly powerful. These coins are still out there. They haven't disappeared. They're still being used, still being spent, still being overlooked. And that means you still have a chance to find one. All it takes is awareness. All it takes is one moment of curiosity, one decision to look at your change instead of ignoring it. Because once you start paying attention, you start seeing things differently. You stop seeing pennies as worthless. You start seeing potential. Now here's where things become almost unbelievable. There have been real auction cases where a 1958 Wheat penny, in exceptional condition with sharp details and full original red luster, has reached an incredible price of $158,000. A single coin, something most people would never think twice about turning into a six-figure asset. And that should completely change how you look at every penny you come across. Because the next one you find might not just be spare change. It might be one of those rare survivors, one of those overlooked treasures, one of those coins quietly carrying incredible value. But if you don't check, if you don't take that extra second to look, you'll never know. And that's how hidden fortunes disappear, one small coin at a time. So, before you move on, take one last careful look at your change, because now you know the truth. These wheat pennies are not just old coins, they are hidden opportunities that most people overlook every single day. And missing even one of them could mean losing real money without ever realizing it. But this is only the beginning. If this shocked you, you need to see what comes next. Go and watch my video on Eisenhower dollar coins, because those coins have even bigger surprises, higher values, and stories that will completely change how you look at everyday money. And if you are serious about finding hidden value in coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel Coins Most Valuable right now, because I upload videos like this regularly that could help you spot real treasure in your own pocket. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who collects coins, and comment below if you've ever found a rare coin in circulation.